And tonight on the Daily Wrap, Donald Trump goes after Wall Street. Socialist Bernie Sanders tries to woo evangelical Christians. All this while Vice President Joe Biden still contemplates a possible presidential run. Plus, more emails for Hillary Clinton. This isn't a recording. This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, joined by my co-host Rick Unger.
Hey, I think it's Monday.
It is, and you had a cold over the weekend, yet you're here.
It happens. Oh, I'm always here.
What are we talking about?
Home, baby. I don't know, I'm starting to get jazzed for the debates on Wednesday. I'm getting into it.
Do you think the audience will be bigger than the Fox audience of 24 million? Because the sequel tends to do better than the original, even if the sequel isn't as good as the original?
Good question. My prediction is no. It will not be as big. It'll be a sizable debate audience because everybody's going to be tuning in to see if anybody's going to fire back at Trump.
Right.
But I don't know if you'll ever see a debate top that number.
Probably not. The curiosity factor might be away a little bit, but Carly Fiorina is going to bring a whole new element to that as far as who attacks Trump. She'll be leading the charge, no question. Two, Mr. Unger's right. She is Nomi Konst. You know what she does. She's the executive director of the Accountability Project. And finally, to her right, he's assistant online editor for Commentary Magazine, the Roa Rothman, everybody. That's the one.
The Roa couldn't be here, unfortunately. But I will definitely be trying to.
Good to hear. Wearing a Trump tie, by the way, which we want to want to talk about. Double wins or not?
Make America Great Again inside.
It's gorgeous. It has a really gaudy, stenciled, like what do you call it? A family crest on the inside of the tie. It's lovely.
We'll be showing that later in the show. In the meantime, let's get right to the Daily Download.
All right, we've got a big interview with Jimmy Fallon coming up. But let's be honest, Fallon's a lightweight. No way he deserves to interview me. The only one qualified to interview me is me.
Me interviewing me, that's what I call a great idea.
Of course it's a great idea. We thought of it.
Donald Trump having some fun on The Tonight Show Friday when he interviewed himself with Jimmy Fallon. The Donald should be in a good mood. Boy, no, we really like that. He continues to rise in the polls, and now he seems to be getting some respect from other prominent Republicans. Senators McCain, Grassley, Portman, Alexander, and Sessions have all said they would support Trump if nominated. Okay, Rick, are these members of the Senate finally coming around and realizing that Trump could actually be the GOP nominee for 2016?
You know, I think we're definitely at a point now where anybody who sticks with the "it can't happen, it's ridiculous," those days are over. I think at this point, if you don't take it seriously, you do so at your own peril, and that includes elected officials. It's real. It very much could happen.
Nomi, what trips up Trump, if anything, at this point? Because clearly, all right, if he attacks women, we'll call it Megyn Kelly, Carly Fiorina. If he attacks veterans like John McCain, all of these things that were supposed to derail this entire nomination, road to the nomination, hasn't happened. So what stops him at this point?
The Club for Growth. When the Club for Growth, this organization that's supporting the wealthy Americans of the Republican Party and special tax structures, if they go after him hard, I think that's and they're going to, and they've made a statement saying that they're going to release videos criticizing him. I think that's when you're going to have a split in the party among those senators. Now, I think it's in the interest of a McCain, even though he insulted McCain for his record in the military. It is within McCain's world to challenge the Club for Growth. So that's like within his, he was a former campaign finance.
So the goal is to paint him as a moderate, basically.
Not even a moderate. I think that they're going to go out and call him a socialist. I think they're going to go hard and say this is not a real conservative. This is somebody who doesn't stand for our values.
Wouldn't that be interesting, Noah, that if he got the nomination and Club for Growth is calling him a socialist and Bernie Sanders got the nomination, you have two socialists vying for the presidency?
Yeah, then we could really just all get on boats and jump over to Europe and really have the whole thing unalloyed.
To socialist Europe?
Yes.
Self-deportation.
I'm going to push back a little bit on this report that says Republicans are jumping behind the Donald Trump bandwagon. They're asked if they're going to give him the support, and if you read their quotes, it's very meek, tepid, I'm going to support the nominee. Not necessarily Donald Trump. They never say his name, and for a reason. They don't think he's going to be the nominee. Right. You're right. The firewall is, if we really get down to the wire and we're in delegate territory and he's winning races, then you hit the SEC primary, you hit March, you hit April, and you hit big delegate numbers in states like California, New York, New Jersey, where you throw money into those big media markets that Donald Trump will try to match. But they anticipate that the party can get behind somebody who's going to be a more establishmentarian figure and really head him off at the convention with a bunch of big delegate numbers in these states.
And to that end, I'm glad you brought that up, because something that nobody's talking about, while Donald Trump's out there getting all the juice, Jeb Bush has been very busy behind the scenes lining up superdelegates. Right. So let's not forget about that.
So even though he's dropped to, say, I saw one poll, I think it was CBS, 6%.
Yeah.
Jeb Bush has dropped to. Why would a superdelegate? Why would even anybody be backing this horse at this point?
Lots of loyalty, A, to the Bush family, and B, I think that the establishment still thinks that Jeb Bush ends up with the nomination.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a John Kasich, who might be the better candidate of the two?
Well,
I'm not saying that from a biased perspective.
And that's subjective.
Better.
It's, that he may be the better candidate to you. I like him better, but that doesn't mean the establishment sees it.
Right, because of the name and obviously
But a year from now, that could turn. Hillary supporters, they're saying the same thing, that they've got the super delegates lined up.
Which they do,
Guess
15%.
What? Sure, but in August, if she's down to 5%, they'll leave, exactly.
Noah?
Yeah, I suspect that's right. If Hillary Clinton, say, loses Iowa and loses New Hampshire, her firewall in the South won't be worth anything. It'll dissolve.
I don't agree with that.
It'll dissolve, and they will go to the bullpen.
I don't agree with that.
I think that's not. Well, let's argue about it.
She's up 20 points, Brick, before you jump in. She's up 20 points in South Carolina right now. And now, all that said, she was up 20, 30 points in Iowa and New Hampshire, and that's gone.
Add South Carolina to that list that you just did, then I will agree with you.
Well, that's why Joe Biden is positioning himself as the break glass candidate and positioning himself as the South Carolina candidate.
But see, she can lose Iowa, she can lose New Hampshire, although I don't think she will lose New Hampshire.
She's down 22 points.
I take it back. I don't think she'll lose Iowa because her ground game is so much better.
Down 10 points.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a caucus. It's a caucus, and she's got the ground troops. She could lose New Hampshire, but I think she'd have to lose South Carolina for that scenario to unfold.
Well, if we recall, she did finish third in 2008 behind John Edwards. If we forget that, right?
Well, it was his state.
She's got a much better ground group now.
North Carolina.
No, in
North Carolina. Right.
Just kidding. I know my Carolinas.
On Face the Nation, Donald Trump surprised some when he went after Wall Street.
Who else is getting away, do you think, with murder in this economy?
Well, I just use that as the ultimate example because I know these guys. They're all supporting Jeb Bush for the most part and Hillary Clinton. And, it's funny when I hear them talking about, we've got to stop this and that. They don't mean it because they're totally controlled by Hillary, and Jeb in particular are totally controlled by the hedge fund guys and, the Wall Street guys, but hedge funds in particular. So they pay very little tax, and that's going to end when I come out with my plan in about 3 weeks. Could be sooner than that.
Okay, now Trump specifically calls out Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton with their connections to hedge funds and Wall Street in general. Is it kind of, surprising that a Republican GOP, the guy who's the front runner right now, I'll get this question out, I swear, is actually saying we should tax the rich more and hedge funds and Wall Street needs to be reined in?
It's remarkable. The extent to which Donald Trump has been able to divorce himself from his past and even present associations in the minds of the 33, who knows how much percent he's going to ultimately secure the Republican
base. 40 in the CBS poll.
It's just absolutely remarkable. It's untethered to reality. I have no idea why this is happening. I suspect anybody who says they don't. So it reflects the extent to which there's just a very limited attachment to principle among a certain segment of the Republican base, the voting base, the activist base, that really wants to see their own version of Barack Obama take the reins and be a strongman personality.
But nobody cares when it comes to Donald Trump what he's done in the past. Geez, he was a Democrat in the past. They don't care about that. I think this was a smart move. He is trying to run as a populist and have his cake and eat it too, and he gets away with it.
And he's distancing himself from those cultural issues. If you've noticed in the past week or so, since he signed that RNC pledge, he has been softer on immigration. He's even basically made the case
for
comprehensive.
taking in migrants?
Yes. Well, no, but immigration immigration reform. He's actually made the case for comprehensive immigration reform and then kept the wall, because you got to say the wall.
And the numbers just keep going up and up and up. So do you believe Trump is going to fix Wall Street? Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments and let us know. Maybe we'll even read some of them on the air. We always do. So we're going to give you a preview of the second GOP debate. That's what Rick was talking about, and that's next. Stay tuned.